All right. Well, it's going to be real talk here this morning because that's what Sherah and I have already been talking a little bit this morning here. We're fired up, you guys. Sherah's got her coffee. She's set to go here this morning. We're just sitting here just cracking up here this morning. Such a blast. Come on in, you guys. Take a seat, grab that coffee, grab your pen and paper because Sherah's gonna bring it home this morning. Pretty hardcore. It's awesome. I love being around like-minded people. Don't you agree? Like, don't they just set your heart on fire? And this girl, you guys, I'm so excited to welcome her to be one of our guest speakers here this morning because she really taught me everything that I needed to know about structure, about being a mom boss. And we connected right off the bat in the beginning. And, for me, structure wasn't something that I ever had. Like, it wasn't something I thought I was pretty good at it, but how many of you guys, when you came into this, you've heard, that, oh my gosh, we need to be utilizing our calendar instead of our life running us. We need to run our life and learn how to be the CEO of our life. Well, this incredible woman here this morning really taught me what it took to be the CEO of my life because she and Mark and her boys take life by the horns. And, success leaves clues, you guys. I think so many of us want to have incredible dreams and incredible lives. And you look at some people and you kind of go, man, I want to live the life that she's got. I want to live in Hermosa Beach. I want to be able to go surfing with my boys like every day when I want to. I want to be able to go travel like that. I want to be able to, have that kind of lifestyle. And this morning, you guys, I just asked Sherah, I said, can you just please come on, share these massive pearls of wisdom and share your story on how you came into this, what started to happen for you, and how you really took this opportunity by the horns and became just this incredible mom boss. So Sherah Wyly, are you there, baby doll?
I am here. Good morning, everybody. So excited to be here. And I was honored when Annika asked me to come on because I know quite a few of you. I feel like Team Relaford is like the sister team to Team Wyly. We've got a lot of like-minded people. And I love collaborating with y'all. And honestly, if you don't know it by now, you truly have one heck, I'll keep it PG, one heck of a mentor, coach, and Annika. Wherever you fall on the Relaford family tree there, you have somebody that truly leads with her heart, high integrity, and character. And that is coming from 20 plus years in a corporate career. I'm telling you, solid gold right there. When you know that people's motives are truly in a place of wanting to help people. So I guess I'll open up with my story because that's what we do as coaches, right? We keep it simple and we eat the food, we drink our water or peppermint tea. I'm a little highly caffeinated this morning. And we share our story. And my story is two parts. It started with my husband, Mark. He successfully lost 75 pounds, released the weight because we have no intention of finding it, released the weight almost 8 years ago. In fact, we're coming up on the anniversary where he said, yes, put me in coach. Jamil Frazier is our coach. And Mark started this program 1 week before Christmas. So be sure to hit me up and call me when that stinking thinking has you, in the mindset that people aren't going to lose weight during the holiday. I'll have to wait. I'll plant the, negative Nelly, tell her to shush and call me up. Because when people are ready to make a change, they are ready. And that's exactly where Mark was. I had inquired about this program on the side. I was concerned about him. He had tried everything, all of these fad diets. It wasn't keto. It was called Atkins in South Beach, back in the day. He tried everything, like many of us, right? Raise your hand if you came to Optavia on the wings of victory. Like you were soaring, life was good. You were just rocking physically, mentally, spiritual, relationally, financially, occupationally. Raise your hand if you came in just like 5 stars. Neither did we. Neither did we, I reached out. I was like, what is this you're doing? I want to know more. I thought Jamil was a personal trainer. I mean, we get people like that all the time. Like, can you tell me how to work out? And he quickly informed me about this program, and it made sense to me. I liked it. I liked what he had to say. I liked the support. I liked that, yes, it had a nutrition component that wasn't no carb. So tired of the no carb thing, right? I liked that it had a path to maintain, because so many other things in life, right? Short-term results. So I delicately brought it up to Mark. He didn't say yes. He didn't say yes out of the gate. In fact, he sat on that for about 5 months until we went back east. He's an East Coaster. I'm Southern California girl, born and raised, but we went back east. He was a groomsman in a wedding for one of the guys he played soccer with. He was an NCAA soccer player in college. And his friend pulled him aside and said, I'm really worried about you. I'm scared you're going to have a heart attack. And that really weighed on him. Only in a way that our true friend could say that, right? And as Mark said, our last name is Wyly. The Wyly men and his family are not blessed with gray hair. He lost his father too young at 52, lost his grandfather too young at 41, and he was determined to change the trajectory and be there for our 3 boys. So that's how we got started. After he came back from that wedding, he called. Still didn't call Jamil right away. He sat on it, and then he called Jamil and said, I'm in, let's do this. So our life was changed. His first weigh-in, guys, was Christmas morning. Before we went down the hallway to see what Santa brought for Christmas, he gave our family the best gift, and that was the gift of health. I had a healthy husband, the boys had a healthy dad, and by Easter, he'd completely transformed. And we all know we don't lose weight in the dark, right? We don't lose weight in the dark. So people clearly were noticing his transformation. They were like, what are you doing? Or are you okay? Are you sick? Because it happened quickly. And we had referred probably 6 people to Jamil and Amanda. And all the while, Jamil's like, you should really help them. And they all were calling us anyway. And it wasn't until my dad said he was ready that I decided to coach, because he said, I'm not calling your coach, Sherah. You're going to coach me. I don't know this guy. You coach me, right? And what I didn't know is that I seriously took the first step into landing into what I feel today is my calling, my purpose. Like, it fills my cup so much. So I started coaching people on the side. I wasn't a full-time health coach yet. I didn't even think that was a possibility, to be honest with you. I was just so on fire with helping people that I just, I didn't even think that far ahead. So I was helping people here and there, and I really enjoyed it. And, we had a transition in our life where we moved here to Hermosa Beach. And it was kind of that point where I needed to focus more on my career and my job. And, there's other parts of my life that were just out of alignment. I'll say it that way. High stress of 3 kids under the age of 4, marriage in general, nobody told me marriage was going to be, I thought marriage was going to be easy. It's not. All of these things, right? And I started to feel very overwhelmed. But the first thing I felt I need to stop doing is coaching. This is just taking up too much time. I need to focus on my real job. And I let those clients go, pretty much ignored them. I'm not proud of the behavior. I just really handed over all my tools that this program teaches us and backed out the door and was like, okay, I'm done. I had hit ED. I wasn't an integrated ED. I did not join any of the trainings. I thought it was all silly, and stopped trying to make me do this stuff. And, you can tell where I wasn't in a very healthy headspace, where I felt everyone was, coming at me for something, that there was always like a motive attached to it, and not a good one. So yeah, I hit non-integrated executive director and I quit, completely walked from it. I even had 2 new coaches sign up and I didn't do anything with them. You know, I can embrace that as being part of my journey. And because that's exactly what I needed for me to kind of come to a place where I needed to change. And that took about 2 years. A lot of people may call it like a midlife crisis. I definitely see it as a midlife awakening, where I was approaching 40, that big milestone birthday. I was in this career that paid me very, very well, that I hated. I always thought I'm coin operated. Friends, we live like blocks from the beach in Hermosa, like, and we're not Rockefellers. Like, I need to make a living. We live in a dual income house, but what I was doing for a living was definitely at the expense of my health and my relationships. I had an au pair, I had a nanny. I felt like I was a half-assed mom, a half-assed employee. I definitely wasn't a wife because I was pretty much pissed off at him all the time because I had to be in this job, you know, blaming everybody. My headspace was so negative at that time in my life that I was just suffering. I was really suffering, and the tools that I was reaching for were just survival. I was the definition of that wine mom of, you know, I've been through a rough day. I got to get through an even more difficult night with bath time and homework and dinner and laundry and dropping kids off at practice and all this stuff. And I thought by the time I walked in the door, I would pop the cork and pour myself a glass of relief. And then it just stopped working. That's the thing with these other tools that a lot of people reach for. It just stops working. I wasn't growing. I wasn't evolving. And I was definitely on the back hill slide to, you know, a life that I just didn't want to live anymore. So I realized I have to change. My husband doesn't have to change. My neighbors, my kids, my boss, nobody else had to change. I had to change. And I realized that what started with my physical health, right? I needed to get on program. I didn't have a lot of weight to lose, but I had a lot of health to gain. And it started with getting back on the program. I started doing a lot of self-development, a lot of inner work. And then as a result of that, I started to feel better. And when I felt better physically and started to feel better mentally, I realized that what I was doing with my life, I no longer wanted to do. I actually got a taste of that freedom before, and I watched coaches that I was coaching alongside totally change their life. And these are people that I've seen in real life, right? These aren't just like, you know, social media influencers. These are people that like I know are the real deal, and I watched their lives improve. So their lives were improving and mine wasn't. So I got a taste of it and I wanted it. And I had enough FOMO where I was like, I want to do this. And I told Mark, I want to commit to doing this health coaching thing full time. But again, I couldn't just, you know, quit and do it. What I had to do is I had to get very intentional with my time. I had to ask him for help, and I had to do the work early in the evenings, late at night, and on the weekends. But I was so driven for that freedom to break away from that job that was just so depleting that I was willing to do it. And it took me about 6 months. Wasn't easy. I don't want to sit here and tell you that I replaced my 6-figure income. I didn't at that point. Eventually I did. But what I did was I was able to build enough of a financial safety net to where we can kind of cut out all those ancillary like expenses, childcare, babysitters, after school care, all those other things. And I dove into doing this full time and have never looked back. So I don't know if y'all are considering doing this full time. The beautiful thing about what we do as coaches is it doesn't necessarily have to be that way, right? It's whatever it is you want to make it. For me, my personal testimony is I was like, please give me the escape hatch out of what I'm doing. I want to really do this for a living. So how I structure my life at this stage, I have 3 boys, 13, 11, and 9. They're in club sports. And I have, Mark does coach with me now. It only took him 7 years to join me on this. I kept thinking that my business was going to explode when my husband joined me, and that's not the case, but he does coach alongside me, which I love, but he is also in a W-2 position that is very time consuming, right? He travels all the time. So I am home alone with these kids, and I am building and growing a health coaching business. So I have to live and breathe by this thing. I have to. This is my personal assistant. And I was kicking and screaming every time my mentor coach told me, what's your calendar look like? Is it in your calendar? Is it a rock in your calendar? Are you structured? Do you have all this time in? And I was like, yeah, yada, yada, yada. I mean, I am so stubborn. I'll just call it what it is. I am so stubborn. I don't want to. I want to keep all those open files in my brain and just live in constant chaos. I was comfortable in chaos. I thrived in chaos, right? But that was no longer serving me, because this nice, story of freedom and structure and free time that I wanted to spend with my kids started to dwindle, because I was just reacting. You want a health assessment? Oh, sure, I can do that now. Oh, you want me to jump on this? Oh, sure, I can do that now. I wasn't respecting my time. And we were on a call yesterday where another coach, another leader said, guard your time more than you guard your money. And I am such a firm believer in that. And I didn't just come to that on my own. I mean, I take like the difficult path always to get to that place of like, yeah, you must guard your time more than you guard your money. So how does that start? How did it start for me? I needed to determine what my hourly rate is. Has anybody here done that? Drop a 1 in the chat if you know what your time is worth, an hourly rate. Annika, anybody else? It's okay, I didn't either. So if you have a pen and paper, I can even drop this in the chat, or maybe Annika. I have the formula here for you, okay? Here's the calculations. How many hours would you like to work? Keep in mind what the work you may need to do, like the work I need to do up front to build the foundation clearly required more time, right? But where do you want to be? How many hours would you like to be working? Okay. So I said 20. That's pretty reasonable. 4 hours a day, have weekends off type of thing. All right. So take that hour, how many hours you want to work, and multiply it by 52 weeks. There's 52 weeks in the year. Okay, now you're going to get the total number of hours. Now, I want you to calculate how much do you want to make? Maybe it's $1 million. Do you want to make $1 million a year? Heck yeah, I want to make $1 million a year. For me, I was looking to replace my income. Now that dollar amount has gone up because I replaced my income, and now I'm looking to take it to the next level. So once you have that dollar amount, I want you to divide it by the hours per year. Now that is going to give you what your hourly rate is. So if anybody's done that, I would love to know what your hourly rate is. Mine is $250. My time is worth $250. So now when I show up to things, I say, is that worth $250 of my time? Is laundry? And I do laundry, don't get me wrong. I mean, I don't have a live-in. I don't have Alice, like the Brady Bunch, living with me. We got a lot of sports stuff we got to wash, right? So this is where it is suggested too that you recruit some of that stuff out. We had our housekeeper come yesterday. She comes bi-weekly. She definitely helps me catch up with laundry. She does a lot of the deep cleaning. I'm so grateful for her. She cleans out the fridge, the things that I just don't have the time for, nor do I want to. Let's say that I don't want to have to do the deep cleaning, scrubbing in the bathroom. Maybe that's meditation for some. It's not for me. So, Instacart has been a huge lifesaver. I just recently switched, and it was very hard for me because I'm a very loyal person to a lot of these small businesses, but we had to switch our dry cleaner. It was too difficult for me to make that stop, drop it off, go back, pick it up. And we recently invested in a door-to-door dry cleaning service. Because Mark needs the collared shirts, and I'm not doing that. I'm not ironing, starching, doing all that stuff. So start to think, maybe take some notes on areas that you feel that you can, recruit out and ask for help with that. My kids are old enough to where they can fold. They've got chores to do. They help with dishes, they help with trash, they help with all that type of stuff. So, recruit people to help because you're worth it. You are worth it. You are a success. You all showed up at 8 a.m. on a Friday. You are all successes in my eyes anyway, that you're here doing this. So you're deserving of that type of stuff. So now what do I do? So Annika asked me to come on and kind of share how I organize my time and, manage all of the chaos. And it's beautiful chaos in my opinion. But so I'm going to give you some tactical tools that I use. I know early on in coaching, I'm like, yeah, I'm very inspired, but just show me what you do. Give me specific examples. I want to see it. Can you show me your phone? So I'm like not just, spewing stuff out. This is my Google Calendar. You can see the different colors. There's a system here. I can keep going. When I say I live in structure, that yellow is probably the weekend, Sundays, right? I live in structure. Okay. It starts with Google Calendar. My mentor used Google Calendar and uses, Google systems. So my coaches and my team all use Google as well. So that does help when you're on the same type of calendar system as your mentor, and everything that we do is duplicable too, right? However, when it comes to systems and tools, I want to encourage you, don't just jump on the bandwagon and assume just because it may work for Annika or it may work for Stacy, it may not work for you. And early on, I was a bandwagon jumper on her. I'd be like, oh, it works for Priscilla. I'm definitely going to do it. I'm going to roll it out and I'm going to train everybody on it. And then I realized that it's really not making my life easier, or it's just not the right tool for me. So, give yourself grace, give yourself some time, try things out, especially before you invest in some sort of subscription on these other soft tools that will help you stay organized. Now, please, please, please don't deviate from Optavia simple systems in terms of how we train, how we coach, how we support our clients. Why are we going to reinvent a system that is so highly successful that we are now the #1 health and wellness company in the United States? That's good. That's gold star standard with that. I'm talking just about other tools that can augment what you're doing to simplify things. So Google Calendar is one, and I'll go ahead and share with you how I color code things. And this is what I suggest my coaches do. They can use it or they can't, but all that I care about and encourage you to do is put it in your calendar. My husband thinks I'm obnoxious. I'm like, I don't care. I don't care that I have go to the post office in my thing, or exercise or read, journal, and write, because I want to show up for myself and be as reliable and dependable to myself and my personal goals and my personal well-being as I am to my coaches and my clients' well-being, right? So love on yourself and respect your time now that you have an hourly rate, and put everything in. So I start with pink. Pink is personal. Pink is self-care. Pink is exercise, mani-pedi, pink is going for a walk. I love roller skating. I recently picked up surfing, 9 a.m. mom surfing class on Thursdays. It keeps me happy. It brings me joy. When I'm happy and joyful, trust me, the people around me are happier and want to be around me, right? So I would suggest starting with you, your well-being, your 5-in-1, your water, journaling. I don't know. You do you, boo. I don't care. You determine that. Second, gold, yellow. Gold is my family time. 5:30 to 8:30 is family time. Tuesdays and Thursdays, I've budged a little bit because I need to make myself accessible to the people who work full-time and may need client support or coach support. But I've predetermined which days those are. My boys know it. My husband knows it. You know, they're now in a routine with me. So it helps keep them, you know, that brings us a sense of comfort for our kids. So why wouldn't it bring a sense of comfort for ourselves to know what to expect, right? So soccer practice, baseball games, doctor's appointments, you know, I even have my morning routine, 7:30 to 8:30. I know I want to put my phone down and be totally present for my kids and all the morning chaos, because before I know it, they're going to be out of the house and I'm going to miss the crap out of them. So gold, family time. Blue is appointments. That's when people, clients, coaches need support, you know. That's when I update systems, send my Opted via share newsletter, you know, back office type of stuff. That's in blue. Green, this is your moneymaker. Are you doing your power hour? Are you doing a power 15 minutes? Are you doing a power 5 minutes? I don't care. Just squeeze in what you can do when you can do it. Maybe it needs to be divided up throughout the day. But are you doing something each day where you put your head down at night and you're at peace because you're like, yeah, girl, high five. What Mel Robbins says, high five in the mirror. You did it. You did good today. You got a lot going on, but you did it. Okay. Green. Last, this, for those of you that work, drop a 1 in the chat. If you have another profession, maybe you love your profession. You don't want to leave your profession. That's fine. We love on you too. You know, my husband came up with the most beautiful analogy about those Frank Lloyd Wright, you know, those architectural homes that are just built into the landscape. You're like, you don't need to plow down the landscape to fit coaching into your life. It can fit beautifully into what you already have going on, right? We can make it work. So purple is for profession. Put those hours where you can show up. When you show up and you know you fully show up for what you do professionally, I'm telling you, it has a positive ripple effect into how you show up in coaching, right? Because you're there and you're present, and they're paying you to be there and present. So be there when you're supposed to be there. Now, again, pink, self-care, personal, yellow, gold, family, blue, appointments, meetings, follow-up, back office, green, moneymaker, shake it, purple, profession. Okay, now please do yourself a favor and leave some white space in there. Don't do that to yourself. I see you, perfectionism. I see you, type A's. I'm going to get it all done, and I'm going to detail my car. You know that I'm going to repaint my floorboards. Don't do that, please. You know, perfectionism is a flaw here in this business. So please leave that white space open, you know, for anything that may come up, because life happens. So be sure you leave that in there. Okay. So Annika asked me to get really raw. We were kind of talking about this before you jumped on. And this was a difficult one for me. You know, on the emotional IQ scale, I'm going to be totally honest with you, I'm pretty low. I take everything very personally. I attach myself to my clients' outcomes. If my coaches aren't really coaching, or they're not, you know, where I would hope they would be, I take it personally. And it stings, and I get emotional about it. And I don't understand why they're not doing this or doing that, right? But I can tell you, I'm still, you know, I'm still growing too. And I have made huge leaps and bounds in my emotional IQ and how I show up as a leader, and as a coach, and as a friend, and all as a wife. You know, this you can see this trend in all areas of your life on how you show up. But I will tell you, when we attach to somebody else's outcome, this is a recipe for burnout. And this is likely why I burned out. And I think if you've had the opportunity to hear Jamil kind of share his story, it was we're samesies with that. We're samesies. He couldn't understand why people can stick to the 5 and 1. Never mind this business. I'm going to take my ball and go play somewhere else. Right. The sooner you can detach from the outcomes of other people in life, I feel the happier you're going to be, and just respect them where they are with that. Right. And I felt for the longest time that I have to work with what's given to me, and I have to make it work because they're all I have right now. And it's almost this like feeling of desperation. But how do you think when I'm in that mindset, how do you think I show up? How do you think I show up on health assessments? I show up like I always say, girl, your motives are showing. It's like toilet paper on my shoe. It's not good. So, you gotta check your shoes, make sure your motives aren't showing, and don't show up in this like desperate state, because the one thing none of us can solve for is time. And I love all of our trainings. I love all the personal self business development that is absolutely free. Again, I come from like Fortune 100, 200, 500 companies. The level of training that we receive from a personal and professional level is bar none the best I have ever been a part of. I mean, I've had hundreds of thousands of dollars poured into developing me as a leader, as a business owner, as a sales executive, and nothing comes close to what we receive here. So even during the training, though, it was kind of shown, I would hold myself, I would get in the comparisons. Anybody else? Is there any other, compare and despairs out there like me, where I'm like, oh my God, how did she hit global in like 60 days? What am I doing wrong? Please don't do that. It's so exhausting. It's so you're not being nice to yourself, right? Like, please separate from the comparisons that we hear. The people that come on and share, my experience may not resonate with any of you, right? You just got to realize you're on your own journey. And as long as you're showing up authentically and honestly, I'll get to that later, honestly, you're on the right path, because the only way to fail at this business is to quit. Right? No one's ever left Optavia and been better off for it. Trust me. And I probably don't know anyone here that has known anybody that's left Optavia, like those repeat custom clients that are on that hamster wheel of a diet, on and off, on and off, on and off, but never truly do the transition and the maintenance, right? So realize that everyone's on their own individual journey. But in terms of how do I personally identify who's worth my time and who isn't? And that sounds kind of bad. I apologize if that sounds bad, but it's true, right? I got $250 in coaching right here. What I'm doing now is worth $250 of my time. But honestly, you guys give me more than I could ever give you. I just love being with our peeps. So I feel that there's 3 types of clients and coaches. And if I can come up with nicer names, I will. Okay, you got the leaders. The leaders on my team require pretty much nothing of me. They don't really calendar my time unless they really need me. I mean, aside from, you need to do the client tip call, coach explorers, that follow the system. My leaders drop in our team page that it's follow-up Friday, and I didn't even ask them to. They drop conscious leadership forums in the thread. They help inform. They read interesting articles and they share it with the team. They are leaders, right? I also have workers. Workers are, I take direction, put me in, coach. Okay, point and click. They follow the system. They don't really veer away. They don't really forge their own path. They don't really live in a lot of curiosity, but they are dependable. They are your steady eddies, right? I was a worker for a while. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I should do that. That's kind of scary. Oh my gosh, are they going to get mad? Is he going to get mad if I post follow-up Friday for him without asking? So yeah, but I'm transitioning into this now. This is a hard word, and maybe you guys can help me come up with a different word, but I'm just going to call it what it is. You got your fakers. And here we're going to circle back to honesty, right? Yeah, I'm doing that. I sent 500 messages. I made 3,000 calls. I don't know why no one's calling me back. Like, they can tell you it's the lip service. I'm totally sticking to the 5-in-1. I didn't even have a stick of gum. Oh my gosh. I don't know why I'm not losing weight. Like, you're just got that BS radar going in the background. But here's the thing, they're only hurting themselves. I mean, I have nothing to lose by them being, faking it. And I don't mean to come across as harsh, because I feel that maybe they truly want it, but they're just scared. They're scared of failing. We're having this conversation with my 13-year-old right now. He's the type of personality, gosh, parenting is so hard. I mean, seriously, it's so hard. Where he's really scared to put himself out there, try out for stuff, put himself in the herd, because he's so afraid of failing. And it's like, it takes kind of, dealing with the failing for you to realize it's never failing. What is it? What is failing? It's growing. It's learning. We should always be failing. We should always be resetting that bar post higher and keep striving and saying, nope, I missed it. Nope, I missed it. Nope, I missed it. Dang, how did I miss ED by one client 3 months in a row? True story. True story. I missed ED by like one client 3 months in a row. So, so we want to love on them, but if they keep trying to calendar my time, I give them pretty much 3 opportunities, coaches and clients alike. And if I offer them, when I come into a conversation with clients, that's not maybe that week 1 call, they're just looking for added support, or coaches. I motivate. I'm sorry. We can't motivate anybody. People are either intrinsically or extrinsically motivated, and we need to realize that, right? So I open the conversation asking them what they're motivated to do. Maybe for the day, maybe for the week, maybe for the next 3 years, maybe for the next 5 years. I was motivated to get out of that soul-sucking job. I was motivated to keep my health in a place where it wasn't jeopardizing my marriage, and my relationship with my children, right? They have to self-identify what they're motivated to do. And you can't do that for them, right? But once you identify, maybe for the week, they're motivated just to stay on the 5-in-1, let them identify it. Then we come in, we ask for permission to coach them. May I offer some suggestions? I don't know about you, but when people come in, do you have friends that do this? Like, you just call them on an event. Maybe it's your spouse. I do this with Mark all the time, and I'm learning now. Maybe they just want to vent. Don't come in with coaching. You know what you should do? You know what you should do, Mark, is you should go do this. It's like, you didn't ask me what to do. So please don't go in with coaching. Ask permission to coach. And they'll be like, no, I'm good. I just kind of want to talk to you about it. And then you have to respect that. May I offer some suggestions? Yes. Then I typically go in with 3 suggestions to help them, get where from A to B, right? Structural attention from A to B. But if they come in with 3 conversations and I offer them 3 suggestions and they don't do any of them, they're a faker. They're not getting into action. And that's kind of my caliber, because as you grow a business, I'm not stopping until I get to IPD. I don't know how long that's going to take me. It's not going to come at the sacrifice of me missing all of those important moments with my kids, again, which is why I'm in structure and balance, but I'm going to get there. Right. But I will not calendar my time with those people anymore, because they bring me down. And when I'm down, I'm not showing up fully for the people who really want it. The fakers will zap my energy and leave very little for the workers and the leaders in my life. Hopefully this makes sense. Hopefully I don't sound like a complete jerk.
No, it makes perfect sense. But can you tell us a little bit how you went from that spot of, because I hear it for you, like, and we've talked about this, you felt like you were doing too much with too little, right? Like, how did you have that breakthrough where you got to this next step and really realized that you were doing too much with too little, and how you kind of bridged that gap?
I didn't come to that on my own. I didn't. I have a lot of people in my life that I lean into. I have a lot of mentors in my life. You know, Annika, you're one of my mentors. I can lean into you. Collaboration is so huge for me. If you're not collaborating with other people in your team, if you're not collaborating with other people outside of your team, how do you think Annika and I have built such a positive relationship? I sent her a cold text and is like, I don't know, you got what I want, girl. How are you able to set up a global business? And I know you're a mom. I know you're a wife. I just, tell me. So I didn't come to it on my own. I had another person that I really respect, and I was telling her I was burned out. I'm tired. And I was coming to the point where I didn't like coaching because I was now coaching on Sundays and I don't want to coach on Sundays. Granted, there's going to be your off things where you need to be present. But every Sunday I was starting to fill it in with like these health assessments and my joy factor was going down. And she's like, why are you doing this? She goes, if you had a business, a brick and mortar business, and you have your hours of operation posted, but they're like, yeah, but I want to shop at 7 a.m. Would a business owner come in at 7 a.m. and open their doors? No, I didn't respect my time. And it was, if I start to feel burned out, and I truly don't know why, I didn't know how. I was starting to feel burned out. I wasn't happy. And I was asking for, outside opinions on what can I do to improve? And if you're not asking for feedback and you're not asking trusted people in your life, how can I improve? Then start there. So hopefully that answered your question, Annika.
No, it totally did. I think sometimes we get in that spot, right, where we're reactive and we're trying to do too much with too little and we lose that joy. And the biggest thing I think that we've been taught over the years and that you taught me really well is that, look, you're trying to awaken and do things with people that they're not wanting to do. So really the answer is just go find more people that match your goals and your dreams, because that's what it becomes fun, right? And they talked about it yesterday about the kitchen, right? Like if you want to be cooking, you're not
Yeah.
worried about cleaning up your kitchen. It gets messy. Go find those people that want to go cook with you, So like it's really about finding those people that have that passion, that drive and things like that, and sponsoring and having more of a higher front qualifying volume and things like that. I think that's what shifted for you really, is that you started to find just amazing people who had the same ambitions and the same goals as you did, right?
Yeah. And that's where you have to be really authentic with who you are and what your story is and not shy away from it. I've seen people in this business borrow other people's whys. Don't do that. Maybe you didn't have a big like midlife awakening like I did, and some people are like insecure about that. Maybe you're just be authentic with what you want and put out in the world what you're looking for. We were on a Coach Explorer, another coach on the Coach Explorer with me, and we both got off and she called me. She goes, oh my God, she's amazing. We need 50 of her. I'm like, right? What are you putting out there? That's what you're going to get back. If I'm putting out there negativity, judgmentalness, all of this negative stuff, I'm a firm believer it's going to come back to you. And look, we go through lulls in this business, any business. When I was in sales, it was like, up here, down here, up here. I mean, for us, again, unrealistic expectations that our trajectory is always going to be like, I'm going up. I have to frequently get off the elevator, sometimes go down 2 levels to take it up 5 flights. It's messy. It's messy with that. So, be very authentic with your story and people will be drawn to you. You guys are here because you clearly want to make a difference. You want to make a difference. You want to help people. You want to stay accountable to your own health, right? Where it's altruistically selfish that by helping others, we gain so much. Or you have something to say. So say it. Don't shy away from it. So, I don't think it's anything you have to overthink. Like if you're not finding the kind of people, if you're not having the results that you're seeking, you got to look at what you're doing. I would complain to Mark. I'm like, I've got no coaches. That's fine. I'm going to get to IPD by supporting 5 million clients. Like, that's just what I have to do. Where's all the coaches? I can't find any coaches. He's like, I've never been seeing you put a post out that's even an option for people. How do people even know that they can coach? And I'm like, oh my God, the head explosion emoji in that moment.
I think that's what I love so much about you, Sherah, that you've come from this place, but I think we all have is almost like kind of this scarcity mindset of, like we said, doing too much with too little. And then you started going from this drama triangle, right, to the empowerment triangle and creating and designing a life that matters most to you. You got really clear on knowing what you didn't want, and you removed all of those things from your life too. Some of the people, some of the actions, all of that stuff. You got really, really lean, and you started structuring everything that you wanted to create. And if you didn't have the time to do that yourself, you either delegated it, right? You deleted it.
I love delegating.
Yeah.
Yes.
So talk to us a little bit more about that.
That's a skill set for me.
Yeah.
I'm very strong. And this is what I love about you, Annika, is that you are so articulate and you put to Optavia language what I'm saying. I'm like, break it down, girl. Put it in the Optavia terms. See, I've been doing this for 8 years, and it's like, oh yeah, drama triangle. That's what I was trying to say. Right? I love that. I love that. So, you hit on something, and I have to be totally honest. It's like when I had to stop drinking because I realized that was leading me down a path that was like not serving me in any area of my life. For me to do that, I had to change everything about my life. You can't give up candy and work in a candy store. You can't give up judgmentalness and gossip, but, hang out in a social circle of gossips and judgmental people. You can't. In order to change and become this person, you have to change every area of your life. And that's just my personal experience. And for me, the best example of what I wanted to be came from what I didn't want to be. And I didn't want to keep showing up this way. I had aspirations to be bigger and better. So who was I talking to? I'll call out Whitney, because I love Whitney, and her and I, another relationship that was established right here in this community. She doesn't report to me. We don't report to anybody, but you get it. Like, we're not in the same family tree. We're different branches. But I remember we were talking about Super Bowl, and I was like, I didn't get any Super Bowl invitations this year. She's like, neither did I. To our local community. And it's like, but I can't say that I'm shocked. My ongoing joke, and I say it around my community, Hermosa Beach is only 1 square mile. It's like Mayberry by the beach. Like, everybody knows. Sometimes Mark and I have to draw straws on who goes to Bonds. I'm like, no, you go. No, you go. Like, who are we going to run into, And I say, no one ever wants to invite the health coach to the party, because I feel like they're going to think I'm coming in as like the police, like knocking that cocktail out of their hand, or like, you shouldn't be eating that. But I can't be surprised. I went for a walk with my 9-year-old, and he's like, Mommy, who are your friends? And I had to pause for a minute, and I'm like, holy cow, I don't know. Who are my friends? But I felt so fulfilled. I didn't feel lonely. And I realized I replaced a lot of, and these people are wonderful people. Some people avoid me like the plague since we've undergone, Mark and I have undergone this, transition, and other people have totally embraced it, but I have replaced a lot of that with you guys, because what I love about our community is that clearly you're looking to improve as a person, whether it be physically or mentally, whatever it may be. Clearly you underwent a similar type of humbling that I did. I love the word, you've been humbled. It's like, get humbled or be humbled, whatever that looks like. They underwent some sort of, we didn't come here on the wings of victory, right? And we all, for the most part, live in a solution. I don't call Annika I will call her and be like, I'm feeling low today. Like, we still talk about the same stuff, but it's like, what are you gonna do then? What are you gonna do about it? Who are you reaching out to? We know that if I'm gonna get on a one-on-one coffee chat with Annika, I'm better end that call with, okay, and now I'm gonna go do X, Y, and Z. I'm going to get into action. And these are the power of the 3 A's. And then I'll end here because I really want to hear from you and answer any of your questions. Is the triple A: attitude, action, and accountability. How is your attitude? Are you waking up with gratitude? My boys and I say this now. I say it about our dog. Okay, we love our dogs. I'm like, Bailey's got, she's waking up with gratitude, no attitude. 2, are you in action every day? Please, please don't feel like you're failing if you don't get that power hour in. That's why there's 3 different levels of the hub. Some days you're on fire and some days you're not. Some days I set a goal. I'm like, I'm going to spend 10 minutes on this. Oftentimes sometimes it's just 10 minutes. Other times it ends up being an hour and 10 minutes if I'm in a groove, and accountability. Are you accountable to yourself? Are you faking it to yourself? Because I will tell you, your mentorship team, and I don't even really like the word mentor because we're all partners. You're business partners in this. They're here to help you get whatever it is you want to do. Maybe you're only coaching to keep the weight off. That's great. But if you're not being honest with them, you're only setting yourself up for further failure. So, be honest with yourself and, use your business partners to help you through. So I guess that's all I have for now.
Sure. Those last 3 A's were actually the most powerful thing. And I'm going to really start implementing that because you're absolutely right? Our attitude determines our altitude, right? What we focus on and how we show up every single day determines what we get. But it's always action. Actions speak louder than words. Nothing happens if nothing happens, but that's really up to me, right? Like, it's my accountability. Nobody's telling me to go do this. Jamil's not telling me to go, like, how many clients are you bringing on and how many people are you helping? How many sponsoring?
No.
Like, right?
No, I don't even talk to Jamil. I don't mean that in a negative way. Like,
yeah,
I don't
need
like
that, right? Like,
I can only imagine. I know how structured and in action I am. I can only imagine. And that's another thing. It's like, in terms of this timeline and these unrealistic, I'll call it unrealistic expectations that you're going to go from here to here. It's like, if I forget who said this, but somebody said, if I was to hand you, I think I was just striving for executive director at that point. If I was to hand you an IPD business, do you think you could handle it? I was like, oh, dang, like I can't even get my kids to practice on time most of the time, like, no, you can only imagine what their structure looks like, so it's like baby steps.
As Dr. A says, it's time to grow up.
Yeah.
You're stuck in the pacifier. God love him. Let's open this up. We've got about 8 minutes. I want to be able to have these amazing ladies come off and maybe ask their most poignant questions, right? Like, based on what you hear Sherah talking about and things like that, like, what do you really, really want to know from her? I will allow you guys to kind of unmute yourselves or just put in the chat or raise your hand or something like that. I think you guys should be able to unmute yourselves, but get really, really specific. What do you want to know most? Because she's one of the most successful coaches in Optavia, you guys. And she's super transparent here on how to kind of go to that next level.
Oh, come on. Hi, Sherah.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us today.
Oh my gosh, thanks for inviting me.
Yes, absolutely. I want to just touch on, you talked about the 3 types of clients, coaches, in regards to leaders, workers, and fakers. When I know we talk about investing in the 20% and whatever, when you realize that you've got that person that is wavering and whatnot, how do you determine what kind of time, effort you put into them and how often? Do you have a standard? as best we
That's a
can? I
great
know
question.
situations are all different for each
I
person.
mean, I don't want to be a jerk. Like my coaches were all clients first. Most of them were clients first, So I have a mental shift where sometimes there's nothing wrong with being direct also. The Four Agreements, one of my favorite books. Be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personal. Don't make assumptions and always do your best, right? We may not always know what to say, but we know how to be kind. Oftentimes during that season, I'll say, look, is coaching still something on your heart? Do you see this as a welcome distraction to what you have going on? Or should we just focus on your health? Because pretty much any one-on-one I get in with my coaches, they know I'm going to ask them how they're doing with their health because I was their health coach first. So, and then we move into the business side of things. So, I've found that when I'm honest and direct, we just get to the core of things faster. And if they're not being honest with you, I mean, you can kind of see that you got to trust. You guys are all really smart and you've got great intuition. You've got a great gut instinct about you. So I wish that I could give you like, I do this or I do that. I mean, it's really a case by case basis.
Right. So just kind of take it back to basics then.
Yeah. I mean, in terms
minimum.
of like getting on a Zoom and them calendaring 30 minutes of like direct time like that, I move past that, but I don't move past I can give you a list, and I meant to cover this too, of the apps that I use that definitely have helped me with structure. And one of them is Marco Polo. I don't Marco Polo everybody. I have a new client. Actually, she's going to become a coach. She's in Hawaii. We Marco Polo. The time difference is pretty big. And I feel like we have that connection. So Marco Poloing really doesn't take a lot of my time. They hear me, they see me. And, we go back and forth that way. Or I do voice text, or, I want them to still feel loved and supported. But in terms of 30 minutes on my calendar,
okay.
Yeah, probably not going to happen.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That helps.
Really quick, the other apps that I choose to use is Calendly. I guess it's close to Meet with me. Again, this is not Optavia. There's a disclaimer about this. These are Sherah tools that have been tried and true for me. Calendly speaks to my Zoom. It speaks to my calendar. I have it set up for my health assessments, client check-ins, one-on-one business coaching. That's been phenomenal. I use JotForm. I prefer JotForm even over Google Docs or Google Forms. I have a JotForm that I use. It does not replace my health assessment, but it does allow me to go in under better understanding what they're looking to accomplish. And I use Project Broadcast. To send out my calendar to new clients so they can figure out a time for that week that they like to chat. I use it to update them. We have a team Lifebook call that we host on Saturdays. So I send reminders for that. And I send reminders for like our Monday night client support calls too, in addition to what we put in our team site. For the Fit for Fall Challenge, I would add a separate list in Project Broadcast and let them know if a new bonus challenge was posted. Hey, did you see it? Click here. So that all falls into my blue space in terms of back office.
Okay.
I would love to edify what Sherah said, Cresta, that I think was really helpful, that some of the information that we got up in Oregon is the people that you're helping, do their goals match your goals, right? Those are your strategic partners, right? Are they excited? And does their energy and your goals match? And if they do, then these are the 10 characteristics that of people who want to kind of grow their business. Sorry for I'm copying this off of an image. So if there's a little bit of wording, like spelling, this is the characteristics, right, of people who want to have more. And this is a really good way to pulse check, right? Like, are they keeping it simple? Are they teachable and coachable? Do they want more? Do they believe it'll work? Do they have people that they'll talk to? Things like that. And if you find that this isn't where they're focused or where you're focused, probably means that we just don't have enough people in the funnel to work with at that point. That's basically what they were saying. Just like Marge said the other day, right? Like 50 coaches, 10 of those will reach ED, or 10 of them will reach senior coach, 5 of them will reach ED, right? Like it's all about finding those needles in the haystack or those deck of cards.
Yeah, and I apologize. You wanted me to touch on my personal numbers. It's my personal goal that in the past, I guess, 24 months, I've never fallen below 10K. I aim to keep my frontline volume between 12 and 15K because that's where my coaches come from. So in order for me, one, I feel like that's my paycheck. I know my frontline volume. I know what I'm making. I know what my income is. Everything above that is like a commission check, right? It's like that bonus. But for me to keep my sponsorship high, I have to keep it to the basics of finding new clients. Starts with clients. You're going to get those one-offs. Me, I wasn't a client first. You're going to have those people. I would say if you're going to start anywhere, who says 6K ZD? I blew right through 6K. I was like, I don't want 6K. I want that wiggle room. I want that room where when I hit it, I'm never going to lose it. Shoot for the Big Thinkers Club, shoot for 10K and watch your business transform. It was transformational for me when I hit the 10K club, even more so than Fibic. 10K was a game changer for me. So hopefully that was helpful.
Awesome. Okay, anybody else? I think we can go over just a few minutes because I want to honor Sherah's time. I know she's got an abundantly blessed, structured calendar here today. Anybody else has got any questions that you really want to know this morning? Stace.
Sherah, not so much a question, I just love you. And I
love you.
Every time I hear you speak, you just bring such value and I get it. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we hear speakers and I'm just like furiously writing, but you just put it in such a way that it's very easy to understand. And I appreciate that. And we're a lot alike. And so I'm a worker and that needs to change. As I'm writing that down, I went, oh, that one's me, but that's okay. My being a worker has gotten me
is amazing.
Yeah.
Most of my team are workers. The leaders
Right.
are the, you make the decision if you want to. Those are the people that are comfortable. They're comfortable here.
I like to be more in a leadership position, but sometimes I feel like I want to do that and just be the best leader. And then all of a sudden I feel like, oh, okay, I bit a little more off than I anticipated and I backpedal and then I feel stupid and I feel like I'm failing and I feel like, you know what I'm saying? All that. Ugh.
Feelings, not facts. Feelings, not facts.
So progress over perfection for me. But you just really sealed up a lot of stuff and you brought such value this morning and I really appreciate you. Thank you so much, my friend.
I'm so glad. My mess. Bring my messiness.
Love it.
That's your message.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you, Annika, for inviting me on. You guys
Sherah,
can always message me. I love connecting.
Yeah, and you guys, that's the beautiful thing about this community and group. If you have any questions, for Sherah and things like that, please don't hesitate to reach out to her. There's so much value in the words that she said today, and I know a lot of you got so much about what Sherah said. I would just sit down and maybe let that digest just a little bit. Like, what are you doing really well that you hear from Sherah, right? What's maybe missing? What are you lacking? What needs to happen to go to that next step? If it's, emotionally, physically, mentally, like what do we need to get rid of? What do we need to start structuring? Are we putting our goals into our calendar? Do we need to stop temporarily doing something for a season right now? We were on the call yesterday and they said, when I actually made the decision to create impact and design a life that mattered most to me, we did not take vacations for an entire year. Done. Nothing. Like they just got super, super clear because they knew that it was a season. Are we having that instant gratification and that short-term success and pulling all of our days into this short-term gratification with the wine or the vacations and all of those things because we can? And are we sitting in that place of a good life versus a great life, right? Or are they actually designing it and getting into action and keeping themselves accountable for that big goal? So I'm going to be putting this together like crazy. Sherah, thank you so much for teaching us those 3 A's on attitude, action, and accountability, girl. That is going on a sticky note on my computer. So you guys, Have an amazing day. Today's follow-up Friday. You guys know what that means. It's building relationships, letting people know that you care, that you're not forgetting about them, right? We have such an amazing time to create impact. And then tomorrow morning, we've got our Set for Success bootcamp. Well, let me tell you, they are going to be dropping pearls of wisdom tomorrow. I'm so excited for what they've got lined up. You guys really don't want to miss it. Love you guys. We'll see you on tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock for Set for Success. Bye, guys.